Hey y'all, it's Kelly from Under a Texas Sky, and I wanted to just go live with you guys just a little bit this morning. Um, it's about 9:30 in Texas. I don't know, it may be early for some of y'all, but I just wanted to share with you um, what I'm doing here. I've got a piece that I have painted, and I've painted it in the Dixie Belle white, which is fluff. Fluff is the color. It's the lightest, I believe, white Dixie Belle paint. There are lots and lots of different Dixie Belle paints that are in the white family, but fluff, I believe, is the lightest. And I've seen a lot of people taking the lighter shades and then contrasting with the darkest shades. And in this case, it's black. I am contrasting this table with some black wax. Now, what I've done, it's maybe a little bit awkward, but what I've done, the top of the piece, I put a rub-on transfer that is kind of a charcoal color. And that gives a really nice contrast to the white table. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Dixie Belle Best Dang Wax, and you can purchase these products right from underatexassky.com. There is a link that says shop Dixie Belle Paint, and all of the products are available there. And I'm doing a thing right now where I believe if you spend $50 or more, it's flat rate of $10 shipping. So you certainly can order and get a really good rate on shipping. I'm explaining to you what I'm doing. Now, some people are afraid of wax. They don't understand wax. Why do you use wax? Dixie Belle is a chalk mineral paint, and it doesn't matter what brand of chalk paint you use. Generally, you put a finish on it, and a lot of people go with just straight wax, furniture wax, the wax that goes with the paint brands. Dixie Belle does not require a top coat. This paint will cure in 30 days, and it doesn't require a top coat. I will wax an entire piece a lot of the time. Most of the times I put just a clear coat on, gator hide, or the satin clear coat in the Dixie Belle line, just to give that added layer of protection. I've got 4 dogs, and you just never know. I've got a Yorkie that will get on every table in the house except for the dining room table. And, I don't want those paws, those feet scratching things. So I always put a top coat. But in this case, I am specifically using the wax to contrast, to age, to give depth, to give a little bit extra character to the piece. Because while the white is beautiful, I want something more than just the white. This wax is a very soft wax. It's really awesome. I mean, you can see that it's just super soft. I've used waxes before where you really have to dig in there to get that wax out. You don't have to do that here. And no matter what brands of paints and waxes and stuff that you use, this look is really cool, and I just wanted to share it with you. And so what I've done on this piece, I'm on this side now, and I am just focusing on the areas that, oh, wonderful, great. I'm so glad, Maureen, that you've popped in and you can see. That's the thing about waxing. When I first started doing this, I thought, okay, I got this wax. They say you're supposed to wax. What does that mean? Now, if I were to take a clear wax to protect this piece, I use a really stiff brush. I find like a really stiff round brush, and I really work it in. And then the important part, if you're waxing for protection, is after it sits for about 20 minutes, you need to buff it. And kind of think about, remember back in the 70s and 80s, I don't know how many of y'all out there are young enough to remember the 70s and the 80s, but when we used to wax our cars, we would wax it, wait for the haze to start, and then we'd buff it to a shine. This is basically the same thing, only it's not going to dry to a haze. But that's a very important step. When you wax an entire piece for protection, you need to wipe off all the excess wax, and then you need to buff the wax that's there because you want to work it into your piece. But in this case, like I said, we're just going to use this as contrast. I still will go over this with a clear coat, and certainly because I have a transfer on top, the rub-on transfers, which you can also purchase at underatexassky.com. Definitely several coats of protection will go on that. The brush that I'm using for this piece is just a stencil brush. It's this, I bought it years ago because I thought I was going to stencil something. I thought I was going to do stencils on the wall, which I never did, but I still have the stencils and I still have the brushes. But this is a nice stiff brush, and it's not too big. So it's going to fit quite nicely. And where I'm focusing are on the edges and in the grooves. And so I've got a nice groove right here, and I'm going to show you how to use your wax as an accent or for age. I'm going to start right in this groove, and I'm just going to pull that wax down and just keep going back in, dipping, pulling the wax, and you'll see that the wax is going beyond the groove. It is getting, you know, the top of and below the groove. And that's okay, because I'm going to show you that the great thing about this wax is that it is a water-based wax, and until it's cured, which of course your wax will cure just like anything, before it's cured, you have a little bit of play. And I'm going to say in that first 15-20 minutes is when you've got some play. Because once that wax really sets in, you're not going to be able to wipe it off. You're going to have to repaint it if you want to get rid of it. Really. I've heard people say you can put clear wax over it and that'll help you take it off. I don't like the idea of just piling on wax and more wax and more wax. So I've never done it like that. But I'm almost to the end here. Okay, let's see. A little bit more. There we go. I want to be sure it's all covered and I don't have any white areas sticking out from the wax, because honestly, if this really was, you know, age or dirt or grime that would accumulate after years, you wouldn't have a bright white spot sticking out of the middle of it. So we're trying to make it look natural. And I'm taking a microfiber cloth. I just buy these by the bag. I think I got a bag of these at Harbor Freight. You can use the bag of rags also. I just happen to like this microfiber for whatever reason. And you'll see I'm going to wipe away that excess top and bottom. Now, for what we're doing, a little bit's cool. You know, you want a little bit of that wax that goes beyond the groove, because that's the way it would naturally occur. I don't want this much though, because I've got some really dark areas right here. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in. I have no idea. Oh, look, I did. Let's see, and I'm gonna take my microfiber cloth and I'm gonna find a clean spot. You know, I've been using this, I've been working on this piece for days, and I've been using this microfiber cloth all morning long. And I'm going to take a mister and I'm going to spray this microfiber cloth, and I'm going to get it good and wet. And then I'm going to come in to the piece. Let me move this where you can see, because I've got a really dark area over here, some darkness. And I'm going, oh, you know what? I'm going to turn my light on so you can see better. Hold on. Ah, there we go. Now you can see. And I'm going to basically just erase. You see how that's going away? I'm just going to erase the excess that for me is too dark. This is completely up to you. It is a total personal preference, whatever you're going for with your piece. If you're really wanting it to look aged and worn, you don't have to remove so much of the wax. But this is a beauty part of this being a water-based product. I'm able to go in and I really want to get this saturated. That way I really do not have to rub hard at all to be able to erase those areas that are just a little too dark. And what can happen too when you're doing wax like this, you can get it on your cloth, and you can see how this cloth is really filthy, and then accidentally touch another part of the piece. Now, if this was painted in a dark color, it wouldn't matter so much because you wouldn't be able to notice. But on this super white piece, it's really noticeable, and I've done that several times. And for the purposes of this piece, you know, I want it to stay white. I don't want it to sort of gray. I don't want the whole piece to be gray. I want it to truly to be white. And so that's why I'm cleaning some of these areas up. And then another area right here on the side of this little decorative thing. And you know, I've joked around and said that I love to get pieces that are highly decorated, you know, with carvings and things like that. I have a love-hate relationship with these. I love them, but I also hate them because, you know, it's a lot of work. I literally been working on this piece for over a week because there's so many little nooks and crannies that I want to cover. Now you can make the decision. You don't have to do them all. You can do some. You can leave some of them out, which I honestly have done. I'm not doing every single groove there is. But you see here, I don't know if you can see, there was an edge right here. And then there's an edge on the opposite side also. And so I'm filling that in. And when I wipe off, I want it to stay in those edges. And so I'm not coming in here and just digging that wax out. I'm just lightly pulling down and removing the heavy part of the wax, because you know the wax will go on thick where your brush touches your piece. And I'm going to go ahead and pull down, trying to keep my fingernails out of it because you know you still can scratch your piece. I did put 2 coats of paint on my piece, 2 coats of the Dixie Belle Fluff paint, and then I sanded it. I sanded it very lightly with a 400 grit sandpaper so I could get to this really super smooth, beautiful finish, which is very easy to achieve. Okay, now I'm going to wet my microfiber cloth again because I want to clean this up. And I'm going to get really close in here. Let's see how this does. Okay. Now my cloth is wet, so you can see how it's erasing that? Except in that edge where I want it. And then this area right here, it's a little too gray for my taste. So I want to pull that away also. And again, I am not rubbing hard at all. I am just lightly dragging. And then when your cloth gets dirty, you know, search around for a clean spot and go ahead and wet that until it's really good and saturated, and then pull down until you get the level that you want. You know, you may want it to go a little bit more beyond than what I've done. Everything comes down to personal preference, and y'all, I always try to let y'all know that, you know, I'm not an expert on this at all. I don't pretend to be. I know it works for me, and that's what I share with you. There may be a real specific how-to out there from somebody who is just amazing at what they do, and it you know, there may be a better process than what I'm doing, but this works and it's easy. That's what I'm always after. I'm after what works and what's easy. I'm all about that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come in this groove. Y'all see, I mean, how that looks. To me, that is just amazing, the way that it looks. And like I said, you'll have to make some decisions when you're working on a piece that's got some areas like this as to how much of the quote unquote distressing or aging that you want to put in there. You know, I've got all of these curly cues in front here. I haven't touched them yet. I don't really know what I would want to do with them, where I would want to put the distressing. So honestly, I've just left them for right now. I mean, I could come back to them and decide I want to do something else. But I don't know if I'm going to do, I just don't know. Like I said, that seems kind of daunting And you can see this groove that I just did was much deeper and wider than this groove. So my whole brush fit in there. There's very little that came over the edges. There is a small amount. And I've got a little heavy bit of wax right there in that corner. You know, glazing is something else you can do. You can use a glaze. I just did a hutch where I glazed the piece instead of using the wax, and it ended up turning out beautiful, but I had to really work at it. Some people love the glazes. I'm not as big a fan of the glaze as I am of the wax. And that's the thing too about the waxes. This wax, this tub is $18.95. I mean, you use so little of it, you will get so many pieces out of this, you just will not believe how far it's going to go, because it doesn't take a lot. Even if I was covering the whole piece, it does not take a lot. That wax really goes a long way. Just don't be afraid of it. And if you're, that's the thing with this piece, you know, people would probably think, oh my God, you're going to put black on that white table. I think it's really cool. I love the way that it looks. You're only limited by your imagination, and you know, you can't worry so much about what other people think or what other people would like, unless you're doing a piece for a customer. Then of course you need to be real conscious of that. But anyway, I know this has been a little short tutorial, but I hope it's been helpful. Don't be afraid of the wax. Take a chance, use it. You know, I almost never sand pieces for distressing. I generally will use wax, just because to me, I get really nervous when I'm sanding down to the finish. I just love the ease of the wax. It is so easy to use. And with the Dixie Belle paint, I love the finish of the paint. I love how easily it glides on. And you know, when you're painting, I don't know if you're familiar with Dixie Belle, it's a very thick paint. You're going to want to wet your brush, and then as you're painting, you're going to want a mister to spray your brush to get it wet even as you're going, and it'll help pull that paint and glide that paint and give a wonderful finish. I happen to spray this piece. You can use a paint sprayer. I use a high volume, low pressure, HVLP. High volume, low pressure, gravity fed sprayers. What I use that I picked up at Harbor Freight, I think for like 14 bucks or something. You will want to dilute your paint a little bit, 2 ounces of water to 8 ounces of paint. It will go a really long way, and it goes on beautifully, you know, in light coats, and it makes the process much faster. That's going to be it. I just wanted to show y'all this and encourage you to try something new. I wanted to also, as always, tell y'all that be careful when you're doing pieces. Don't worry so much about what other people are doing. Don't compare your work to other people. Seriously, do not compare your work to other people. Oh, Maureen, thank you so much. You don't know the level of experience other people have. You don't know how many pieces of furniture they finished. You finish something, you get it to where it makes you happy, and that's why you're doing this. This should not be something that keeps you frustrated. This should be something that you enjoy. If you've got an old piece of furniture, I love the fact that you can repurpose it. I cannot tell you that this table, when I first started, we bought it at an auction. It was yellowish, kind of a dingy yellow with this weird kind of red trim. It was really ugly. And I was able to turn it into something absolutely stunning. Old dressers. If you've got dressers or furniture and you think, oh my God, you know, I really wish that I could have new furniture, but I can't afford it. If it's something that can be painted, paint it. Try it. I'm telling you, you'll be amazed at what you can do if you just give it a try. Be sure to go to underatexassky.com, and you know, you can see all my videos. There's a link there. I think it's called Video Tutorials. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please be sure and subscribe to that. Follow me on Facebook. I do a lot of stuff on Facebook that doesn't show up on my blog, that doesn't show up on YouTube, and I hate for you to miss out. And it's just Facebook Under a Texas Sky. I'm also on Instagram. I don't do a whole lot on Instagram, but that is under_a_Texas_sky. Like I said, if you're interested in the Dixie Belle products, go to underatexassky.com and click on Shop Dixie Belle products, and you'll find everything, even the rub-on transfers. I'm going to be doing a lot more of those, and I do have a video where I'm showing you how to apply the rub-on transfer. So you should definitely try that. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for spending just a few minutes with me this Thursday morning. And I'm serious. Try this. Get you some wax. Get you some chalk paint. Paint a piece and see what you can turn it into, because I mean you can make a real work of art. I appreciate y'all always being here, always supporting me, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Blessings to you. Oh, thank you, Karen. As I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this, we can talk. Boy, this is always the thing with me. I think I'm just gonna